Good to go. Good evening to all our viewers. We have this exciting new live series, Tech Times, brought to you by UCL Sri Lanka in collaboration with Chocolate Magazine. So given the prevailing situation under the new normal, tech careers are booming, and this series will feature elite and eminent professionals in the tech field that will support the youth to explore opportunities available and step into a tech-based career of their choice. So before we commence, we have a quick opening commercial by our sponsor before we kick this week's episode. Let's tune into that.
What I'm about to tell you could change your entire life. This is a place where you meet the world. A place that will inspire, challenge, and shape you. We stand on a path to discovering some of the greatest adventures of your life. It's a place where you learn how to be the best and sit back in awe as the people you meet inspire you to spread your wings, to reach higher, go further, laugh louder, and launch yourself with the right start into an extraordinary future which will take you places. Start your journey to a world of possibilities at UCL.
So that was our sponsor UCL. Thank you for making this series available for all our viewers. So in this week's edition, we are honored to feature a very special guest, Mr. Thothathri Vaikuntam, in this week's edition, who's currently functioning as the resident director and center head for HCL Sri Lanka. So before we go into the formal round of questions, we are honored to have you on our platform. Thank you for accepting our invite and coming on board. How has the last couple of weeks, months been giving consideration to what is prevailing in the country? The latest news is that there is an extension in the lockdown. Has technology acted as an enabler, making things easier to navigate during these trying times from a personal aspect as well as from a professional aspect?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Pleasure is all mine. I go on to all the listeners. It is trying times, unprecedented, I would say, Chatishka. We've not seen something like this earlier at all, right, in the last 25, 30 years. Personally, especially in the IT industry, we are all learning to, work from home, work remotely. The team bonding, the team working together, the coordination, these are extremely important for IT industry, especially with a lot more projects working agile today. So we are learning the new ways of working. I can tell you, in my company, for example, in HCL, all around the world, we have 160,000 employees. When we had the lockdown situation, the third week, we had 99% of the employees working from their homes. I'm talking about around the world, right? And that means the kind of logistics, the setup that is required had all to be done within those 2.5 weeks. And that's the change that this brought in. And I think, as is always, you need to be dynamic, you need to be very adaptive to quickly take the change, imbibe it, and work towards a solution for the change. As an industry, right, I think this is a great time. It's actually opening up a lot more opportunities. As you rightly said, the demand is booming. We see a lot more demand coming up. I think a lot of our customers and consumers are looking at more digital options. You're not able to meet your consumers face to face. And that means you have to, as a business, think about what new ways to reach out, how to be more digital than I was earlier. And that's great news for IT, right? So business is big, the demand is much bigger.
Thank you, Thotha. I think you touched on some keywords such as, you need to be dynamic and adaptive. I think it's very important to be agile and flexible since, we are adjusting to a new normal. So those, I think, the keywords that you emphasized are of importance. And besides that, you also explained that during the industry, during these times, during these adverse times, there are opportunities as well. So I think those are key nuggets that the audience could possibly, grab. So besides that, before we get into the formal round of questions, I'd like to briefly give a brief introduction to Mr. Thothathri. So Thotha is a graduate of mathematics and has over 23 years of experience in the IT industry. He joined HCL in 2001 as a developer and donned many roles, including leading transitions and transformation solutions for customers to leading delivery accounts in gaming and broadcasting domains. He has moved to Colombo in late 2019 and currently, as mentioned earlier, he is the center head for HCL Technologies in Sri Lanka. So again, thank you for accepting our invite and joining this discussion. So Thotha, if you could take us through your professional career, the experiences that you have acquired throughout the years, the different positions and responsibilities that you have undertaken, in a nutshell, in a brief, I think that would be helpful to the audience.
Sure. So I joined as a developer way back in early 2000. I was a database developer, and I had the opportunity to work on a mid-range ERP from a smaller company. And the advantage with the ERP product is you keep changing your projects every few months or years. And I got to learn at least 4 different domains very early on. So apart from learning the technology, I think it's also very key, very important to learn the business, learn the domain of your customer. Right? And that's when you can contribute as an IT professional. In fact, IT offers you this as an added advantage. Not many industries allow you to learn the business and the domain of multiple industries as you grow. So from there, I moved on to a Java J2E platform, managing a retail point of sale systems. My second project or account within HCL, I moved to UK and had a experience working with a few people in UK. This was HCL's first integrated service delivery account, which means we were offering multiple services, application services, infrastructure services, data center services, and we were one vendor putting all the solution together. So that was a very unique thing. I went there, worked there for a year and a half, and came back, transitioned it back to one of the centers in India. I then moved and managed a couple of gaming projects, gaming accounts. I established one of the gaming accounts for HCL, which means we participated, provided a solution, we won the deal, and we worked that deal for around 3 years for the business, for the customer. So that was another unique experience as I grew from a project manager to a program manager. Then we had a transformation project for one of the broadcasting accounts that you talked about. So we were doing quite a bit of migration, and this was in 2016-17. We implemented a 200 plus people development project, which transformed using microservices, a solution that they had in legacy to the latest digital technologies. In the last 3 years, so this was my journey as a delivery professional, right? Leading accounts and services from HCL to our customers. In the last 3 years, I thought I should have a little varied experience, need a little bit more diversity from managing a business. So I expressed this interest within the company and moved to managing HR functions for the south of India from 2017 to 2018. So I was leading a few HR functions called Benefit Box for the employees. I was leading the training operations for the company. I was also heading recruitment for the south of India. So that was 1.5 to 2 years of great time doing enabling functions from being a delivery person. And in 2019, I came to Sri Lanka. I was part of the initial team that came to visit, that came to study, to do feasibility analysis. And we found everything positive. And from then on, it's been a little more than 1.5 years for me in Sri Lanka. So that's a very short summary.
Interesting profile indeed, and thank you for enlightening us on that. And I think in terms of varied experience, that is also something I think which is important in today's era. In terms of skills, there could be certain skills which were relevant a couple of years ago but are redundant now. There are skills which are considered as mandatory now, which could possibly be irrelevant and redundant in the future. If we speak on the lines of 5 to 10 years, in your perspective, what are some of the skills that would be in demand?
So, as we started and touched upon a little earlier as well, I think customers are going to be more and more of technologies, right? It's the way you conduct your business. We have been doing digital services for our customers for the last. Impact of it is growing year on year. For example, we can have a complete end-to-end digital solution just using Java, which has been around for a couple of decades now, right? So learning consumer behavior, consumer experience, and learning how to convert the requirements into a design and provide a digital solution is something that will stay on for at least another decade, right? More and more industries, more and more customers are going to go. There are still quite a lot of industries that have not become digital. So that's going to stay. And the services that we need to offer to make our customers digital could be data and analytics, right? It could be cloud technologies. Obviously, a lot of customers are going to cloud currently. So that's going to continue and become the mainstay, so to say. It offers, there are quite a lot of reasons that we go there. We have platforms, we have integrated solutions that are already available. We don't need to invest in infrastructure. We have best of security available. So we can concentrate on cloud as a user, right? As an employee, as a potential IT person. You can look at cloud solutions. You can look at data analytics. You can look at ML, AI, the latest ML and AI solutions. You can learn Python. It's not a big thing for you to learn, but you can start learning Python, and then most of the solutions for MI, AI and ML are done in C, C++, Python today. So you can learn quite a bit of these technologies. Another important area is UI UX. How do you change consumer behavior, right? How do you perceive consumer behavior? It also calls for quite a bit of soft skills. You need to be empathetic. You need to be able to look at, put yourself in the consumer's shoes. You should need to have design appreciation, design awareness. So these are all qualities that are required for UI UX. Another good area that we can concentrate on.
Interesting feedback. So I think you touched on the aspect of soft skills as well. If you could highlight the importance of technical resources, I think this is something which is evident, where technical resources are complacent doing the back-end work and focusing on the back-end work. But how important is it in this era to become not only savvy on the back end, but become a focal point to the customer and build soft skills. If you could share your advice on that.
Sure. I think a very pertinent question, Chatushka. We as IT think it's a technical job. Actually, it's more personality, it's more human skills that you need, or at least equally so compared to technical skills. In fact, we have a saying internally that we can easily teach you Java or any technology. It hardly takes you a month to learn the basics and get productive. But getting the right person, somebody who has all the right soft skills, is a lot more difficult, right? It takes a lot more time to teach those skills to somebody. We in HCL, for example, we currently have 600 employees. We started last year, mid-September. So it's been 9 months. But one of the things that we do in our training is we dedicate 2 hours of training of the 8 hours in a day on communication skills. Every day there is a communication skills, 2 hours skilling. That is the importance of somebody who will have good communication skills and good articulation skills. It's very, very important, especially in IT industry. By articulation skills, I mean somebody who's sharp, somebody who's able to say and communicate what they have in the crispest, shortest words possible, right? Very crisply. Communicate what your thought process very crisply to somebody else. So these are very important skills for anybody to have. If you look around the different roles, not just in IT, I think it's true for all industries, right? The persons are the employees who have direct connect with the customers grow much faster. This is something that I have seen, right? So you look at sales, for example, 100% consumer facing. They are going out, they are meeting somebody, and the most important set of people that you have. Similarly in IT, right? The guys, project managers, the business analysts. And earlier, around a decade and a half, we were training our developers to be having more communication skills and articulation skills. But now we have all projects moved to agile, right? So many of our projects, more than 50% of our projects, require our developers within the 3rd or 4th week to be talking to the customers today, right? So they join us, they join a Scrum, and they are in daily meetings, stand-up meetings with the customers. So one of, as I said, the most very, very critical skill, we need to improve our communication skills and articulation skills. And I've worked in 4 or 5 different countries. And I think one of the things that we, especially in South Asia, have to improve is what I call as speak up. Speak up is being bold. Speak up is not being worried about. Right? Speak up is, not to an extent, not care about what others think, and just speak your mind freely. So that's something that I think we'll have to cultivate. We'll have to keep in mind and consciously improve in this. Another skill that I'll say, especially when you're talking about soft skills, Chatushka, one other thing is we have to improve and we have to keep a tab of how to influence our peers, how to influence our reporting manager, how to influence your stakeholders, all these stakeholders. That's a very important leadership skill. Start from a young age. You will realize by the time you come to a project lead or a project management position, you will realize that influencing skills are the most important leadership skills that you can have. So start from an young age, genuinely have interest in other people, genuinely help other people. And that will go a very long way in building your network and influencing others and having one of the strongest leadership qualities that you can possibly
have. Thank you again for sharing that valuable insight and enlightening us. And I think we would like to commend HCL on the progressive steps that have been taken to upskill the employees in terms of soft skills as well. So that is important. And thanks for sharing those insightful remarks. In terms of, I think, Thotha, the audience tuned in would also like some advice on resources available for them to sharpen their individual tech skills. We understand that in this, with what is going on, you might not get the opportunity to enroll yourself in a course curriculum, attend a tertiary education provider physically, but there are many resources available online that can be leveraged on to sharpen and improve your tech skills. Are there any resources that you can direct our youth towards? Is my next question.
Right. So, not just because of the current pandemic situation that we are in, saying even otherwise, I think we are moving to a more and more virtual world, right? I can go back 22 years back and tell you, I was doing mathematics course. IT wasn't famous then, and it was not available. I had to join a couple of institute and learn C, COBOL, right? And some of the other technologies that were available at that time, predominantly C. And then now you don't see so many institutes, neither do we actually require it. I think we have to be ready to get into the virtual world. There are multiple websites, right? Which Coursera is one, Udemy is one. There are many more. We use Skillsoft in our company, right? So we have tied up with them. We have thousands of technical courses available. Most of the companies have. But even otherwise, I think it's just a couple of clicks away if you want to learn something today. I'm just not talking about technology. I'm talking about even skilling yourself. There are platforms available where you can go and test your technology knowledge, right? So many companies are running hackathons or other tests, other pilots. You can participate there, test yourself, see how well you're doing against many other people. So I think it's important people understand that you don't expect somebody to teach you in a traditional classroom setup. Go online, choose what you want to learn. There are hundreds of platforms that will allow you to do. I named a few, but there are many more. Just check out. You understand you don't need somebody to sit next to you or in a classroom to teach you. That you will be able to do it yourself. And the flexibility that it offers in terms of, starting anytime, adjusting to the hobbies that you have, adjusting to the workload and work pressure that you have, you will be able to pace yourself out very well and learn what you want. So I think it's a great advantage. We wish we had the same facilities back then, but I think most importantly, we need to use it. We need to be ready to embrace it.
Absolutely. Thank you. I think, again, a shift in a mindset is what is being required. I think being persistent to sharpen your skills and also, utilizing the platforms and the forums which are freely available is something for the youth to think about. Thank you again, Thotha, for enlightening us on that and options available. In your perspective, considering sports and extracurricular activities, being involved in community-based projects, volunteering for CSR projects, is that a value addition to personal and professional development of an individual? Does that give you some sort of an edge when an individual is starting off? They've just completed their degree and trying to step into the corporate world, probably if it's their first interview. Does this, being a wholesome individual, do you see that as a value addition to an individual and to one's resume?
Yeah. Definitely, yes. Uh, for example, I know many of my colleagues, and I personally, uh, I strongly believe getting the right person in is more important than getting the right person who has the right technical skills in. Um, Getting the right person, then we can teach them anything we want. Number one, right? Another reason is we are living in a very dynamic world. We need our resources to be fungible. So if I have a project and a specific requirement today, 8 months, 1 year from now, these environments will change. There could be migration requirements. The customer could change. And I don't want an employee to be stuck with something, with a particular knowledge for years to come. So they need to be fungible. They need to be able to learn. So when we look at college pass outs or college leavers, we want somebody who has shined in multiple areas, not somebody who's got the first rank, but somebody who has done 2 or 3 things, which is their passion. It can be sports, as you said, it can be CSR activities. It can be their hobby as well, right? There were people who had laughed at me when somebody said my hobby is reading books or singing. Singing is my hobby, and I say, "Can you sing a song?" Right? So, can you sing a song in an interview? But then, whatever your hobby is, or whatever your sports game is, it's very important for you to be rounded. And it's also very important that you're physically fit, right? These are two important reasons why I think we encourage, and I'm sure many of the other companies look at people who are well-rounded, who have multiple other experiences. And that's the diversity that they bring to the office, to the production floor. And that also helps them, as I said, 1 year, 2 years from now, when the requirements change, right? It's not going to be constant. One of the things that I said when I introduced myself is that every a year and a half, I have changed my role, right? From being a project lead to a project manager to a program lead to managing delivery accounts with profit and loss responsibilities. And half of these are not academic courses that you can take. How to be a leader is not an academic course that you can take. Right? We can teach you the principles, but then building that skill and competency is very important, and you can just get it only by experience. So with any person having skills in 2 or 3 areas gives us and tells us that their learnability is high, their flexibility is high, and they are definitely going to be rewarded and welcomed more, I would say.
Thank you, Tata, for reiterating that message, which is important for the youth. So we have the second commercial that we would like to tune in, and we'll be taking a short pause, and we'll connect after the commercial.
Hi, I'm Nadeep Jayathilaku, a past student of St. Thomas's College, Mount Lavinia, currently following the NCC UK Foundation Program for Software Engineering here at UCL. I found out about UCL after going through the internet, looking for universities that I could apply for with my current O-level results, and I found that UCL had the best options for me when it came to my career path and the time I spent obtaining my degree. The positive reviews left by family and friends about the overall atmosphere at UCL and the amount of lecturer support we get really sealed the deal for me, and therefore I decided UCL it is. The main reason I decided to go for a foundation course over finishing my A-levels is because I believed that it would be an opportunity for me to kickstart my higher education and obtain my degree all before the age of 21. I now wish to invite anyone who wants to kickstart their higher education by either joining the foundation program or jumping straight into the degree program if you have completed your A-levels. Thank you.
That was another commercial by sponsor UCL alongside a student testimony. We thank UCL for making this series available. So if I may move on to my next question, something which is prominent in today's era is we see a lot of shifts in terms of careers. It could be for gains such as promotions, salary increases. We see the new this generation pursuing instant gratification rather than building a particular career and focusing on experience. Any particular advice that you can share on those lines, Thotha?
Yeah. Yeah, especially IT, right, Chatushka? We used to call this as the knowledge industry. It's actually a skill-based industry today, right? Just knowledge isn't enough. But this is an industry where you have to be ready to learn, right? To be able to learn through your career. It's not something that you will learn today, get in, and then forget about learning and skilling yourself. This is a continuous 25-year process or up until you are in this industry. You're right, across many countries, I've seen people who do not understand the importance of giving time for your career, setting your goal and giving it the time required to nourish the skills that you have. I will explain the outcome. I think to a lot of viewers will be able to relate to it more. My advice to all the people who are listening, Chatushka, is give it time, give the career the necessary learnings and skills that it requires. Your success, the fame and the money that you want, and not wrong to have goals for all this, by the way, will follow automatically. While you are at it as a developer or in any technology, right? Again, we talked about a few technologies that's going to be there the next 10 years. You don't need to necessarily be in the top skill demand today. You don't need to be there. You can be there in any of the top technologies. And you can put in the hard work that is required. And I'm telling you, wherever you are, you will shine. Every field has its own requirements, and any technology, any platform that you choose, put in the hard work required and give it the 5 or 6 years as a developer or as a team lead that is required. All your expectation in terms of money and success will come running behind you instead of you chasing those things at this point in time. Right? So that's my advice.
Thank you, Thotha, for those encouraging words. So we've had an insightful discussion. You've shared a lot of insight and information related to the changing careers. We've touched on different topics, and we've come towards the latter part of the discussion. And I would like to, in concluding remarks, is there any sort of related advice that you would like to share with the youth and the general public that has tuned in on the areas of being persistent, on the areas of in the area of leadership, and also most importantly being agile to the changing needs in the marketplace?
Yeah, so I think we talked about communication articulation skills. We can't stress more. It's one of the most important skills that you can have. Similarly, leadership skills. The most important of them is influencing skills. And I can tell you, I'm talking by experience that you start early. And when we say build your network as if it's a selfish objective that you have, when I say build your network, the only way to have good network and to build a good network is, as I said, genuinely be interested in helping others. There's nothing that we lose by sharing our knowledge, by sharing our skill to other people. So have a very strong technical focus. put in extra work in your beginning of your career. Do not think it's a government job or a 9-to-5 job. Look at it as a job that you will put in the effort that is required, especially in IT. There are a few days where you probably need to work less than 8 hours, and a few days you will probably need to work more than 8 hours, which is pretty normal. But put in a couple of more hours, especially in the initial few years. Skill yourself, prove yourself, and as I said, success, fame, and more importantly, money will follow and will come to you automatically.
Thank you again for that closing remark. Thank you for encouraging the youth, inspiring the youth. You have shared a lot of insight during this brief discussion. So again, we want to thank you for accepting our invite and joining this platform. So thank you again. It was an absolute privilege to host you. We wish you all the very best in your corporate and personal endeavors. For the viewers that have tuned in, we have a series of interesting IG Live sessions, webinars, sessions where Chocolate Facebook Live that will be live streamed. So stay tuned for the updates. I'm Chatushka Diavis signing off from Chocolate. Have a great rest of the day. God bless you all.
Yeah, thank you. All the very best.
Thank you, Thotha. Thank you.